Fox News is really in a tailspin, folks. I got to show you all of this. I think they are freaked out right now because of this report that was filed by special counsel Jack Smith that was recently unsealed by Judge Tanya Chutkan. This is in the D.C. federal election interference case against Donald Trump. And this document, 165 pages, packed with new evidence showing Donald Trump's crimes after the election and before the election, quite frankly, revealing all of his attempts to try to overturn the results of the 2020 election. This thing is absolutely scathing and horrifying, and Donald Trump must be held to account. So I'm going to show you how Fox is covering it and how some of these other right-wing propaganda networks, what they're up to. First, I need you to subscribe to this network, subscribe to MeidasTouch. We're on our way to 3.5 million subscribers. We can't do it without you. My name is Brett Meiselas reporting. Okay, let's get right into it. And first, I got to be a little fair to Fox News here. Their host, Neil Cavuto, who is their kind of only straight news reporter at the network, when this news broke about Jack Smith and this filing, he actually reported it to his audience. And he said that we are learning about this document and how Trump resorted to these crimes to cling to power. I got to give props to Neil Cavuto for this moment. Watch.
We're learning that former President Trump resorted to crimes in a bid to cling to power after the 2020 election.
But of course, after that, Fox was looking quite different. And can I let you in on a little Fox News secret? Because our researchers here at the MeidasTouch Network watch Fox like all day. They're monitoring what's going on because it's important that we deliver the facts to you so that you know what is going on, because this toxic bile that Fox spews every single day, people pick up on it, and unfortunately it affects so many opinions out there. It's one of the main reasons why our country is so divided. So we got to report the facts to you. And I'll say you're welcome for watching Fox. You're welcome, folks. Let me show you this, though. I'm going to say that this was barely even mentioned on Fox last night. And this is why. When something major happens, a story of this magnitude, and the evidence is so damning against somebody like Donald Trump, Fox needs to huddle up in their little spin rooms. They need to figure out what is the propaganda we are going to push. How are we going to spin this to our audience? Are we going to even talk about it? What's the angle we're going to take? So last night you saw Laura Ingraham start to kind of workshop her angle, and she barely talked about this at all. But let's pull up the Chiron. I'll show you what they ran, the text on the bottom of her segment when she was speaking about this. It said, quote, Chutkan and Smith desperate to influence elections. So you see that's sort of the direction where they're going. But like I said, even on Laura's show, she barely spoke about it. On Hannity's show, barely spoke about it. They acted like this didn't even exist because they're getting their talking point straight. Laura Ingraham was trying that out right there. So let's see what Laura Ingraham was talking about. What news was so important that she had to speak about it over this bombshell filing by Jack Smith? Well, apparently her brain was broken because she was reporting that, quote, Trump picked walls because he wanted someone who could advance his agenda for economic growth and peace through strength. What? Watch.
And unlike Kamala's pick of Tim Walz, Trump did not select Vance because he wanted a yes man or he wanted a lackey. Trump picked Walz because he wanted someone who could advance his agenda for economic growth and peace through strength.
What's wrong, Laura? A little cognitive issue there, Maybe you're not quite fit to continue in this role. Just saying, if you got to step aside, we'll understand here at the MeidasTouch Network, okay? If you need a break, we got it. It was such glorious karma, I will say, that she made that mistake, because during the same episode, Fox had one of their other hosts come on with Laura Ingraham, and he was trying to criticize Governor Tim Walz for misspeaking during the debate. And he was like, if you just misspeak, just say that. Watch this.
If I keep staring at the pepperonis long enough, they'll stop asking the question. I don't know why, Laura. If you just misspeak, say that. But why he had to wait a whole day to clarify this?
That's such good karma. Meanwhile, you had Hannity honing in on the important issues like trying to sell Melania Trump's book because Fox is just an arm of the Trump family and the Trump business. I get, they're all the same thing at this point. But here's Melania Trump with Hannity on Fox. Watch this.
Wow, you were expecting it all.
I did, because I saw how they treat him, how the media was against him. I think they are afraid of his strength. and he was leading this country with peace through strength.
Yeah.
Are you afraid of his strength too? Is that why you don't live in the same room or even the same state, and why you never even see each other? When was the last time Melania and Trump even saw each other? I don't even know. Do they know? I'm not sure. But you know what? Here's the sad reality. Who needs Fox when you have MSNBC and other networks doing things like this? During Ari Melber's show last night, he had convict Peter Navarro on the show to just spew his nonsense. And I truly don't understand what value that viewers get by seeing things like this. Like in this segment, Navarro was saying that it took 30 years for us to acknowledge that Kennedy stole the election from Nixon. Like what? Watch this.
We did. I think there are things that need yet to be investigated. It took 30 years for us to acknowledge that Kennedy stole the election from Nixon. I think historians will
we're
look
not
at this.
doing Kennedy-Nixon night. You don't acknowledge that Trump
stand
lost.
by the report I
Okay.
wrote. I think there's great uncertainty. And look, Ari, for whatever you can say, half of the American people or more believe there were irregularities in that election may well have been stolen. That's the country
We're
we live
dealing
in.
in facts, not that.
And I
but
presented 3 volumes of facts.
All right,
Ari.
so I'm going to go.
Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and I can show you every different state.
Can I actually
things that would
interject
make
here?
Like, how is that helping anybody out? Like, why even air that MSNBC? I truly don't understand that. But let's check now. Let's look back at Donald Trump's other propaganda networks. What were they pushing? Well, RSBN, one of the biggest Trump propaganda networks, had Trump. They were covering a Trump speech in Wisconsin or one of these fake press conferences, whatever this was. And Trump said, "Can you imagine that? Your child leaves for school and comes home and their gender has been changed? Not even believable." Yeah, it's not believable because it's not true. It's just a lie. Watch.
Can you imagine that your child leaves for school and comes home and their gender has been changed? I don't want to get into the details, but it's not even believable.
The lies are just so atrocious. They're so heinous. It's like enough is enough with the BS. Sick of it. We're all so sick of it. But let's see who CNN was platforming last night. They had a Republican, Tom Emmer, on. Emmer was one of the people who was helping to prepare JD Vance for the vice presidential debate. And Caitlin Collins over at CNN was bringing up JD Vance's non-answer about whether or not Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. And here's what Emmer had to say.
This would be a topic is because in 2020, you did sign on to that brief supporting a Texas lawsuit that would have invalidated the election results in 4 states, but you ultimately chose to certify the election. You broke with some of your Republican colleagues and you chose to certify it. You said in a statement that Congress does not have the authority to discard an individual slate of electors certified by a state's legislature in accordance with their constitution. And you yourself said doing so sets a precedent that I believe undermines the state-based system of elections that defines our republic. I mean, do you still feel that way tonight?
Again, Caitlin, we're talking about an election that's going to take place in 35 days. What are you doing talking about something that's 4 years ago? We can have this
Donald Trump
debate
is still talking about it
some
from
other
4 years
time
ago,
going
with all
forward.
due respect,
The
Congressman.
people are hurting. Well, with all due respect, Caitlin, people want to know. They're hurting. They want to know.
And don't get me wrong, I'm happy that Caitlin Collins pushed back there, but it's like, why have these liars on in the first place? What value is it bringing viewers to bring people on who just say these insane things and just lie to their audience? We need the truth. We need the truth. And by the way, this was Trump last night. Like, you want to know why we're still talking about it? Because Donald Trump is still talking about it. Donald Trump still refuses to accept the results of the 2020 election, and he's still threatening to do the same thing to this election. So it is absolutely important and relevant that we get the answers to these questions and we get these people on the record, because Donald Trump is making this an issue. Donald Trump last night wrote, "I didn't rig the 2020 election. They did." What are you talking about? First, you lost the 2020 election. We're not saying you rigged the 20. You tried to overturn the 2020 election. The evidence in that Jack Smith filing is absolutely damning. And by the way, we did a full comprehensive breakdown of that Jack Smith filing over at MeidasPlus.com. You should check it out. We tried to do a list of the most important elements that we saw, some of the most stunning revelations that we saw from that document. We put it in an easy to read way so that you don't have to read all 165 pages. Hey, if you want to, we also have the link there, but I recommend you go take a look at MeidasPlus.com. Okay, now let's look at what Donald Trump was saying on News Nation yesterday. Trump said that he would revoke the temporary protective status of Haitian migrants in Springfield, Ohio. Watch.
Springfield is such a beautiful place. Have you seen what's happened to it? It's been overrun. You can't do that to people. They have to be removed.
So you would revoke the temporary protected status?
Absolutely. I'd revoke it and I'd bring them back to their country.
That's just truly evil, vile, monstrous stuff. Evil. Evil, evil, evil. These are people who are in this town legally, and he wants to revoke their legal status because he made up BS lies about these people, maligned these people, defamed these people, these hardworking immigrants who are in this town, who were invited to this town, who were begged to come to this town because they couldn't get people to fill even the most basic jobs of the town. And the Haitian migrants came in legally. They were able to fill these jobs. They were able to ensure that the economy did not collapse in these towns. They should be thanked, not criticized and threatened with deportation by people like Donald Trump, who are making these people's lives and the lives of their children a living hell. Shame on you, Donald Trump. Shame on you, JD Vance. And let me just show you some of the things that we're covering here on the MeidasTouch Network. Like Ben did an interview with Representative Auchincloss in Massachusetts, and he had the perfect summation of who Donald Trump is as a person. Watch.
I want to share with you right now, though, what Donald Trump's been saying pretty much all day and yesterday evening, kind of get your reaction to it. It's typical Donald Trump saying it's going to be rigged, but let me just show it to you. Let's play it.
And I just believe when you see the end of that debate, are you going to let that be the last word of presidential debates of this season, end of your career, or are you going to want one more?
I would love to have 2 or 3 more debates. I like it. I enjoy it. But they're so rigged and so stacked. You'll see it tomorrow with JD. It'll be stacked.
Saying this will be rigged. I would love to debate, but it's going to be rigged. Such a loser mentality, but I want to get your reaction to it.
Loser mentality is exactly it. America is a nation of can-do people, of entrepreneurs, of winners, of people who build things when it seems like the building is impossible. And Donald Trump is someone who, born on third base, thinks he hit the triple, and still claims the game is rigged against him. I mean, it's pathetic. And I think it's also boring at this point. I mean, it's been almost a decade of this. And I think there's only so much belly aching the American people can digest. And
I don't know about you, but these are the kinds of people that I want platformed on our network. I don't want convicts and liars like Peter Navarro and all these kooks. Like, enough is enough, okay? We just want to hear the truth. We don't need a bunch of people screaming at each other across a table with the MAGA person saying this and the kind of honest person saying the other thing. Let's just find the facts, okay? Not everything should just be a debate of people screaming and whining in this cable news garbage, whether it's Fox or CNN or MSNBC. It needs to stop. It needs to stop. Hey, if you agree with me, make sure you hit the subscribe button. We are an independent news network here at the MeidasTouch Network, on our way to 3.5 million subscribers. And I'll let you in on another secret. We get more views on digital than they do. We reach far more people. That's thanks to you. Remember to subscribe to the MeidasTouch podcast on audio. That really helps as well. And leave a 5-star review if you can. Hey, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in a bit.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.